Right, free speech advocate, but only on his own thin-skinned terms, Elon Musk has announced during the World Cup final, no less, that he plans to make Twitter an impossible platform for content creators by deciding to ban links not only to other social media platforms, but also to so-called third-party social media aggregators, the kind of site that people use not only to list their other social media presences, but when they create content, they list the ways people can support them too. Those who have supported me and continue to, if I'm lucky, might be familiar with my Linktree page, which I've got advertised behind me there. One such social media aggregator, which I have posted as my Twitter profile website link for some time. Continuing to do so, however, might see me banned. However, if I were to acquiesce to this request, how do I tell people on Twitter how they might care to support me or where else they can find me for the work I do? Given I can post that Linktree link on any other platform, Facebook, Insta, Mastodon, YouTube, Musk is handicapping his own platform as somewhere to share content and somewhere to do business. When you're in the business of informing people of the goings-on in the world, as I am, and with Twitter having always been the go-to platform to deliver news and quickly, this is a direct attack on free speech. Also, the less content that's being shared, the less attractive to advertisers it becomes. By hurting us, the people who run businesses on Twitter, that in turn keeps Twitter in business itself. Twitter only becomes smaller, insular, and less significant. The bleed away to other platforms will continue. Now, I'm only a small fish in all of this. There are some significant business interests run by Twitter, making significant sums of money, and they must be raging at this sudden, sneaked out, inexplicably stupid piece of diktat. Of course, it's not just businesses raging at this either, but their audiences too. If there's less content to see, less product to buy, if the content creators people like to engage with end up forced to leave or get banned, they'll go too, or at least use Twitter less. Even more bizarrely, and what makes it seem even more childish, is that not all other social media platforms are banned, just some of them. TikTok is fine, YouTube is fine, Snapchat is fine. It's just the Meta-owned ones and direct rivals such as Mastodon Musk is worried about, making the idea all the more senseless and making people think this is all about the whims of the feeble walking ego trip who now runs things at Birdside HQ. Or is he? Now he's run a Twitter poll asking whether or not he should step down as CEO, and he's just lost it. So he is now apparently going to step down. But before you get too excited, he's not saying he's pulling out. No doubt he'll just now appoint a CEO whose strings he'll be able to pull. To my mind, it appears as if he's just looked for a way out of the hole he's in, having found running things a wee bit tricky, having failed to wriggle out of buying Twitter. If he really wanted to stay, do you think a Twitter poll couldn't be rigged in his favour? But any replacement will hopefully be somewhat less of a Trump-esque man-baby. And if you think comparing Musk to Trump is a bit much, here he is at that World Cup final, standing with Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and the Qatari elite with their fabulous human rights records. Par for the course for a man whose wealth was apparently built on South African apartheid, I suppose. Even as he steps down as driver, he still owns the Tesla. It's just a question of if and when Twitter turns into a fireball too, whilst he remains owner of it. The tweet thread announcing all of this from Twitter support, however, has, as of this morning, been taken down. So who knows? Maybe they've had a sudden change of heart. Or maybe it's not as simple as Musk first thought. You see, posting these links to other platforms might violate Musk's new rules, but they don't violate any laws. By implementing these rules, Twitter would therefore be editorializing its content and would no longer be a social media with the laws that protect the freedom of speech and freedom of expression that go along with that, but would instead be treated as a media platform, more akin to newspapers and television news. Put it this way. Right now, as a social media platform, they have, let's call it, scant responsibility towards illegal content, hate speech, harmful imagery, and the like. They are able to rely on us reporting such posts to deal with them. As a media site exercising editorial control, however, they become not only directly responsible for such content being posted and having to be dealt with, but they can face a range of fines, even criminal liability for that sort of content being posted. Right now, Twitter acts as an intermediary for such horrible content and isn't directly responsible for it. That would change under such an editorializing direction. And when the site is more fixated on links to other social media than hate speech, for instance, not an unreasonable conclusion to reach given the decision by Musk here on what he's choosing to target, you can imagine various global governments will throw the book at him. In the US, Twitter would no longer be protected by Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act. In the EU, Musk's rules fall foul of the Digital Markets Act. Here in the UK, the Tories are still consulting on such things, but are interested in greater competition and innovation. So they might well like Musk's idea. Another Brexit win, I suppose. Freedom. None of this seems workable to me. I fancy a U-turn will come down the line, perhaps by Musk's new CEO, so he can save face. So, knowing our luck, he'll appoint somebody like his brand new bestie, Jared Kushner. Either way, it's another example of why billionaires aren't fit to be put in charge of stuff. They all live in ivory towers, so they've no concept of the value of anything anymore.